Oh, yeah, there it is. This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
What is up, buddy?
I don't know. I just about popped a vessel setting the hook on that monster.
I saw that.
Holy cats.
Well, we
My
got
face
some
even
big
got
hook
red.
sets tonight going on.
Gosh. What'd you say about Between Hook Sets? what was that? What'd you say? You know, I'm not the best at photoshopping. Matter of fact, I'm not photoshopping, but my phone lets me do just about anything. And I thought, well, I'm going to play with that one.
That's awesome.
Oh, boy, I tell you what, we've got a fun night ahead of us here with a big state record. The South Dakota State Record Walleye was caught after 21 years.
21-year record.
Wow. An amazing fish. And look at that. By golly, we got Brett paying attention there. Brett, good to target walleye. Good to see you on. I was gonna kind of reach out to them and ask them a couple questions. So I'm glad they've tuned into the show tonight. It's going to be a ton of fun. You know, before we bring Aaron on and the boys or the fellas from Walleye Nation Creations, this is the record that was recently busted. That's a really nice fish. I hadn't seen this picture in a long, long time.
That mount is sitting in a grocery store in, I think, Armour, South Dakota, in the back of the grocery store.
Oh, it's got to come up front now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that's a truly amazing fish. But the newest record is a monster, and we would love to introduce Aaron, and I think Aaron's got Jesse with him, and then we've got the fellas from Walleye Creations Nation, or Bill is with us anyway. I didn't know if Brian was going to join or not, but Walleye Nation Creations and the new record holder, Aaron Schuck. Aaron, how you doing?
Oh, not bad.
Fantastic. Great that you take some time to hang out with us and chit-chat about catching a monster walleye with a Walleye Nation Creations Reaper. That's even more fun.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right into it. I want to hear the story. You were almost 200 feet in back of the boat. Were you pulling that Reaper with lead core, or what were you using, and how did you get that in front of the fish?
Yeah, we were using lead core and snap weights, but it came on the lead core about 187 feet back.
So you've been out, I think if I read correctly, you've been out fishing quite a bit, and you actually have a number of 10-pounders to your name. You got quite a few under your belt. When you hooked this one up, did you know you had a monster walleye, or in the back of your mind were you doing like the rest of us? I hope this is not a big catfish.
Well, that's always in the back of your mind, that catfish. But yeah, it felt quite a bit different than a 10-pounder per se. It was heavy.
So walk us through from the time you picked that rod up to the moment, the whole experience. It just had to be something else. And Jesse, you landed the fish. So, go through that. And I honestly think the picture in the live well is the best picture you ever took, because we've seen people hold up fish and they look big, but that puts it in perspective right there.
Right. That's what everybody's saying too. Yeah, it's big in that live well.
So go through that. Go through you hooked it up. We've all been there. Oh, it's a good one. Slow the boat,
Did we slow the boat?
Oh, we weren't slowing the boat.
Were you pulling in a straight line? Had you made a turn? Did that? What happened? Where were you at when it struck? What were you doing?
What were we, 20 minutes into it?
Yeah, we were about 20 minutes into it. We had caught I think about a 27 and a 29 right before that, and a couple smaller ones. And Aaron's rod went off, and he was just commenting on his rod was being dead. Actually, it was kind of funny. And when the rod went down, he started reeling. He said it's a good one, but as he started reeling in, the location where we caught it, we had caught a couple big ones in there the week before, and a network of friends have caught a couple good ones right in that same kind of stretch right there. And when he got closer to the boat, he kept saying it was getting heavier, and that's usually a pretty good sign. And we were out in some pretty terrible conditions. I think we left Bismarck that morning. It was 8 degrees. We got down there. I think it was about 20 for a high. The back of the boat was all iced up, so he was counting down the line. I was kind of just staying in our depth. We didn't want our lures to sink and get all snagged up and have a yard sale, for the rest of the rods that were out. You know how that goes. But as he got closer, that kind of his excitement and tone of voice was getting pretty loud, put it that way. He kept saying it's bigger, it's big. And I think when he got to about 20 feet on the line counter, and I was up on deck trying to not fall in because the back of our boat is all iced up. He said, "Get ready, I'm gonna bring it up," and he brought her up, and a lot of excitement started. So,
did you tell him not to miss this fish on the net?
No, he was nervous with the net. I don't get too nervous. He kind of knows the drill. We fish a lot together, and he did an excellent job manning the rod and bringing it up slow and letting that fish make its shakes, and it worked out, and it went pretty quick once he brought it on the surface. So.
When I got it to the surface, it was still, I could see her out there, and she was still about 5 feet from net range. And I almost had a heart attack, and I think I panicked a little bit and just started cranking on the rod, and then he put it in the net.
So we have a question here from Target Walleye. What type of structure, how deep are you fishing, and how far down were you running the Walleye Nation Creation Reaper?
We were in about 40 feet on a channel edge, and I had about 100, and I was on the edge side. I had about 187 feet out.
I'm going to say he was 30 to 35 down, somewhere in there.
Okay, so Bill, you guys are the ones that built that Reaper that caught the state record. So tell us about the. Really, this one's actually named after you too. This must be your color. Is this your favorite combination of colors?
Yeah. So it's just a funny thing. Like the whole business is only two guys. So Brian and myself, we both after 2-3 years, we're like, you know what? Let's just have some fun. We'll both make our own color. And we'll fish them and stuff, and we'll name them after ourselves. So Brian actually has one that's called Hunky Hammer, and mine's called McGannon Special. So when we got the picture, Jesse actually sent me a message on Facebook just with a picture before it was officially a state record or anything, just saying, hey, check this fish out kind of thing. And Brian, of course, he's like, of course it's on a McGannon Special, So we're always having that little bit of competitive stuff between us. So.
I think it's fantastic.
Brian, Bill, them fish have been, this last few years, I see a lot of stuff. And I've known you guys since the beginning. I mean, since you were in a little shed. And what makes them so different?
So the Reaper is really kind of gaining some popularity up, especially on Oahe and places with like Cisco and things like that. It's really profile. I think that really makes them different. You see a lot of stick baits, and generally they're long, slender baits, things like that. And the Reaper's just got a little more profile. So for us, we're from Nebraska. We fish a lot of Nebraska lakes, like McConaughey and Merritt are both all-wide based lakes, which are a little bit bigger profile fish too. So we do really well with Reapers at both of those locations as well. So I just think it imitates the fish a little bit better, the shad profile, Cisco profile, things like that.
Well, we're actually going to give away one of your Walleye Nation Creations Reapers tonight. This one just happens to be watermelon, and actually I chose it because I know Brad Hawthorne and Brett McComas from Target Walleye like the green, the orange, the pink, and that combination. So I'm like, okay, that one obviously is going to catch fish and on fire. And then we've got the splat.
Yeah,
And we're going to give that one away too tonight.
awesome.
Yeah, I think next week we all should paint our fingernails black like
Oh, yeah, sorry. So at the radio station, they dared me to dress up like Post Malone, and I forgot that I hadn't cleaned off my my fingernails yet there. So that's part of my play. It's a good thing I got rid of the hand tattoos, though.
So we got another question here from this one here from Brandy. How fast were you pulling the Reaper?
Good one.
Pulling about 1.5 that day. We had slowed it down quite a bit. You know, with weather in the area, so we were right 1.5, bumping it around with the trolling motor. So right in that range.
So I heard you guys actually caught it near a casca, which concerned me a little bit. You didn't catch it here, did you? Okay, I want to make sure you didn't catch it here, did you? If you caught it here, that was my record fish. I hope you did not catch it on that spot, because that spot holds my state record walleye. And I just want to make darn sure that you guys were not fishing in my line there, because I own that.
I just can't make that map out.
Well, that's good. I don't want you to know my spot.
But so you get the fish in the boat, and obviously it's a tank. What's going through your head? Did you think you had it at that point? What's going through your head at that moment?
I kept saying to him, that's got to be, all I wanted to do was catch a 14-pounder. And I kept saying to him, that's got to be 14. That's got to be 14 pounds. And he said, I think it's a little better than that. And I go, are you serious? And we put the scale on it.
And what did your scale in the boat come back at?
Well, that day it was bouncing 15 to 16. We had a west wind slapping the boat. It's hard to keep that, fish stable and get an accurate reading. And then, in digital scales, there's definitely a lot of lag time when it's that cold and they rode down in 8-degree weather. So, we kept weighing them and it kept bouncing around that 15, in the low 16. We weren't really quite sure. At the end of the day, I reweighed it. It was right around that 16. It was kind of, for us, our technology, the scale, the brand I was using, I wonder how it was performing in those cold weathers looking back. So we were going on the info we had at the moment.
So did you stay out fishing, or did you go in that moment?
We stayed out fishing, given the data we had on the scale at the current moment. That scale was only a week old too. I just bought it. It's one of them deals.
I wouldn't have been able to stay out fishing. I would have had to go do something. Actually, you know what? If it would have been me, I probably would have measured it like crazy, took a bunch of pictures, and released it right away.
Well,
you know,
but in the boat about going in and not, and that took a little duration to figure out what we're going to do, and we ended up arriving at the decision we did.
Well, it was good to know that the South Dakota GF&P made it official, 16.8. That is a heck of a beautiful fish. Absolutely an unbelievable fish of many lifetimes. I don't know the way you guys fish, though. That whole area, that Mobridge, Pollock area, Akaska area, around the Morrow, it holds big fish. I would guess, Josh Loeb said that he thinks there's an 18 to 20 in there. I think there's an 18 to 20 in there. Everybody's shaking their head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of big fish coming from Oahe the last couple of years, and I'm sure this is just going to draw a little more attention to that.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of guys been out there wrapping, and there's a lot of guys out there pulling too, but I thought with the jig and wrap and the forward-facing sonar, that was going to be the way we were going to get it. And, or the rip and glide from Walleye Nation Creation, or, that technique, and you guys go out and do it, pulling the Reaper. Now, do you guys fish a lot of Reapers, or, were you fishing all Reapers, or was it just, you pulled it out of the box and threw it on?
No, I was down there the weekend before, and I was pulling one that same reaper and a bandit, but that reaper kept going off. So when me and him went, that's the first lure I put on my lead, and then I put a bandit on the snap weight, and the reaper caught the big one.
So let me ask this: is the reaper retired?
Huh?
Is that bait retired in that particular bait retired in that fish, or is it back in the box?
No, I kept it on and I lost it.
No,
Oh,
no,
Yeah,
Aaron,
it's
no. You
no
gotta put that
kidding.
in the tournament box.
maybe,
Well, you know, it's kind of sad too, because I tried to get one in the McGannon so we could give that away, but I was down in Sioux Falls at Dakota Angler, and they were out of those. So obviously people are paying attention and want the next best thing. But if you see, it's kind of hard to see here, but create strikes when nothing else will. I guess that's what happened, right, Bill? So talk about that statement. That's a bold statement, you know?
Yeah, you know, we truly believe in all of our products, and to be honest with you, it's like Kurt said earlier, we still view ourselves as a very small company. It's two guys, and you know, we started in 2016 and basically a little shop, and the only reason we believe that we're still around is because the baits do catch fish. You know, anglers talk, it's word of mouth, that kind of thing. So we wouldn't still be here if they didn't. So that we do believe that, you know, sometimes they'll create strikes, especially going slow like that. I think it's got a little bit better wobble than some baits. Cold water, big profile, big fish, right?
Yeah, well, the Reaper's not the only hot bait you guys have had this year either. This thing has been, you know, Brett from Target Walleye has been talking about how amazing it is. Some of the other guys, I think Will Pappenfuss and some of those other guys that are using it just swear by it.
Yeah, it's a absolute great bait, and that's what we started with. That's what we were making in our garage by hand in 2016. Like 2-minute spiel just to kind of tell you how we grew. We were making that, just said, we're fishermen first. We fish tournaments in Nebraska, local tournaments, and we actually were like, you know, hey, we should maybe try to sell some of these, get a little bit of gas money. Our wives are on our butts all the time about spending money fishing, you know. So we made a Facebook page, and we were selling the death jigs, and it was about 6 months later we went completely backwards. We got a phone call from Cabela's about the bait. Some of their pro staff were using it, so our first customer was actually Cabela's. So we jumped straight to a big retail, and ever since then, you know, we've been trying to grow the brand and those kind of things. So that's kind of how it all went. But the death jig was originally made out at Lake McConaughey, and we were pulling it over trees. Forward-facing sonar is really big now. So when you look at, if you're pulling a bottom bouncer and you look back at your bottom bouncer, I don't know what it is, but all the time, those walleye will come up and look at your bottom bouncer. They always do, like almost always. So our idea was, well, before we had forward-facing sonar, was basically you take the whole concept and you put it in a bait. It's your bottom bouncer, your spinner blade, your live bait action, all in one bait. Right. So at the time we were trolling the tops of the trees at McConaughey because forward-facing sonar wasn't a thing yet. Well, now we knew it was effective, but now when you could actually target those fish and put that live bait with that slow death action right in their face, I mean, it's a killer bait when you're doing it that way.
So that's glad you said that, because I've had them in my boxes for years, and people look at them and like, how do you even use this? How, I mean, how do you cast it? Do you, you know, how does it work? How do you know when you're, you know, bottom bouncer, you drop it to the bottom, you're on bottom, you call it good. So with the death jig, you know, even for myself, I put it down and I reel it up a little bit, and that's where I run it. But what, you know, when you guys are doing pulling over top of trees, what is your theory? You know, how do you doing that? Like,
yeah, so you kind of get used to just the 1.5 ounces seems like, holy cow, that's a huge heavy weight bait, right? But if you're pulling a bottom bouncer in 20 foot of water, you're using a 2-ounce bottom bouncer normally. So you actually need the weight. What happens a lot of times is guys will say you're in 15, 20 foot of water, you let that 3/4 ounce down and you hit the bottom and you bring it up a reel. Well, you go for a little bit. And if you have forward-facing sonar now and you look back, because we'll watch our baits when we do bottom bouncing and things like that, we actually look back. That bait will continue to kind of rise on you. So that 3/4 ounce, what you think is right near the bottom, might be 5, 6, 7 feet up off the bottom after a while, because you actually need the weight, the drag of that worm and the spinner, everything. It'll lift that bait. So I'd say like up to about 15 foot of water, we'll use a 3/4 ounce if we're actually trolling it. Anything beyond that, we actually use the 1.5 ounces because you won't get that lifting, right? So that's kind of how we use it. We also watch it with live scope, so it's kind of cheating almost, you know. It's like bottom bounce, and I know exactly where my bait is, so we'll do it that way. And then the 3/8 and the new 1/4 ounce we came out with, that's really for those guys that are pitching it up shallow on tops of those reefs and things like that. Green Bay, a lot of guys do that up there, you know, Mille Lacs and different areas like that. So the casting, the 3/4, definitely you can do, but we cast that in more like 10 foot, some, you know, those kind of depths.
So when you're saying trolling this, are you pulling it at like 1-2? Like,
yep. 1 to 1-4 generally. You basically are pulling it exactly like a bottom bouncer. Now you can go slower, but we pull it a little faster just to get that live bait action. You want to get that worm spinning on the back of it. But it also, you know, like up at Lewis and Clark, we got an area where we call the chutes. I'm sure you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. On the west end, we get that current. Well, in current situations, you don't really have to move, right? You're getting the action. So you can go as slow as you want. Rivers, things like that, you can almost do it vertically. But any other time, it's not really a vertical style of bait. So you got to be moving to get the action of that bait.
Okay, so some guys have started pulling bouncers at 2, 2.5, 3. Some have even told me 4 miles an hour. Do you think you can do that, or is it just going to be a little tough to do?
It'll probably be a little tough to do because I think you're going to get that bait going side to side on you a little bit. We haven't run it that fast. You know, a lot of times with live bait, it's more about the enticing of the live bait, the scent and everything to get that fish to commit. And most of the time in those summer months, you know, it's not as effective late fall, things like that, unless you switch it up, you know. The one other thing with the death jig that a lot of people maybe look past is the fact that it's got a clip built into the back. So you can put a normal hook on it. We'll put a straight hook on it sometimes and use a minnow, you know, different things. So it's great in the summer for the live bait crawler bite. And then in the winter and fall, when they want it slower, we'll just switch the hooks out.
So just to clarify things now, you said kind of cheating. I don't like using that word. I call it learning.
Yeah, learning. You know, it depends. It used to be a guess, right? A lot of things without forward-facing sonar, a lot of things were a guess. You had to make an educated guess or spend the time, go out on a flat and figure out, okay, I'm this far out, I'm running this deep, those kind of things. Not cheating. It's just definitely it quickens the learning curve, as you would say, right? Because when we're pulling, I can now look back and say, okay, every time we pull bottom bouncers, we're using a line counter reel, just a low profile Okuma. And we know once I get it set and say, okay, I need 48 foot of line out to be where I want in the strike zone, I'm looking at my live scope. It's real easy to repeat at that point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, I think the forward facing sonar is truly amazing. But Aaron, were you using forward facing sonar when you guys were out fishing, or were you just doing the traditional pulling plugs?
Yep, just pulling plugs.
187 feet, that's too far.
Well, oh yeah, no doubt.
Welcome to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I do the same thing with my Mega Live. You know, I look out the back of my boat because I learned that you literally see how the fish react to the bouncer and to the bait, and then of course you can watch yourself reel it up if you want to keep your eye on the screen. So even if I'm 150 foot back, I still have it on because
Right.
There's so much to learn from it. You find out that the fish are coming in from the sides that just kind of, that surprised me. You know, there's so much to learn from it. But, you know, Aaron, I want to go back to you too, because we haven't heard from you for a little bit. There's just so much excitement. You know, honestly, I feel like a kid in a candy store because this is such big news and it's so exciting. You know, a 16.5 pound walleye, is absolutely major. I don't even think we asked you about, you're going to have it mounted, right? And is it going to be a skin mount?
Yes. Yep, I'm getting it mounted for sure. No question. Yeah. I mounted the first 10-pounder I ever caught, and this will probably be the last one that I mount. I'll probably never get another one that.
So did the taxidermist tell you it's going to be a while, or is he going to have it for you before Christmas?
Well, I haven't taken it in there yet. So.
What are you waiting for?
Busy. I got to go fishing tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow, but we're going fishing.
Well, you've got to take advantage of the nice weather. We're supposed to have relatively decent weather here through the weekend, so that's a bonus. That's awesome.
Aaron, Jesse, you guys get the fish in the boat. You think it's a good one. You weigh it a bunch of times. You get to the landing. Then you go weigh it and know, the first post I saw said 16.5. Walk us through that and then realizing, yes, I broke the state record. And, I mean, I just can't imagine the feeling that it had to be.
Well, we weighed it when we got back to the ramp just to make sure. And his scales was still saying 15.12, 15.10. So we didn't really think anything of it. We got to Selby, and I went to the gas station. I said, is there any kind of scale to weigh a fish around here? We're curious to see how big it really is. And they said, no, we don't even know where you'd go for that. So in our minds, the scale has said all day long that it's only 15.10, 15.12. So whatever, we go home to Bismarck. And until we get home and on my fish cleaning table, I throw the fish on there. He measures the girth. It was 21 inches.
Yeah, a little over 21.
21 inches around. I went to my boat and I grabbed my scale just for curious, see what mine says. And mine weighed 16.5 on my scale. So then he went to his truck and went, what happened here? So he went to his truck, got the scale that we used all day, and he warmed it up on my heater. And then his scale finally said 16.5. So there I sit with the state record on my fish cleaning table, and nobody's going to know about it. Because now I don't know where to go. No idea. I spent most of the day Sunday. So the fish stayed in my fridge all night. And I spent all day Sunday trying to figure out, it was just eating at me that this fish could be the state record. And I don't know where to take it. I don't know where the certified scale is. So I think I'm trying to watch the Vikings and trying to make phone calls and figure out where the hell I can take this fish. Finally, he gave me a number to Greg Eli. Someone told me he was tied in with Pollock down there at the resort. He gave me the number to Lisa down there, and she said she had a certified scale. So Monday morning I got up and I actually told myself, I'm going to weigh this fish again, and if it doesn't say at least 16 pounds, I'm just going to take it to the taxidermist. Well, I got up in the morning. It said, I think 16.4 or 16.5. And I said, well, I better get going. And I took off and went down there and weighed it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
2 days after catching this fish.
Yeah.
2 days. So when you finally certified it with Game Fish and Parks at 16.8, did they tell you they figured it lost this much weight or it held this much weight, or did they talk?
He didn't really say nothing. He goes, okay, where's your fish? They zeroed the scale. I went out, put the fish in the little pail on top of the scale. He looks at it and says, I think the scale said 16.5, which because they don't do it in ounces, He said, I got to do the math on it. But he said he looked at the scale and goes, that fish weighs 16 pounds, 8 ounces. That's a new state record. Good job.
Wow.
And started signing papers. Yeah.
So walk me through that. Once it did, what was the paperwork like? And what was your emotion when you went, I put this fish in my fridge for 2 days?
Right.
2 days.
Yes. Yeah. Now, mind you, when I got home and it said 16.5, I did not sleep very good that night.
I wouldn't have slept at all.
Right. Then I'm trying to make phone calls all day long, and I'm about over it. I'm going, I don't even know what to do here or where to go, because I've tried another resort down there, and they didn't answer the phone. They didn't call me back, and I wanted to go back down to South Dakota, so everything was legit, you know. I wanted to go back down there. I didn't want to do it here. So
Cody said he told you you were an idiot for 48 straight hours.
yeah. Yeah. All because I didn't know where to go with this fish.
I would have gotten in the car and I'd have driven to the East Coast and found somebody that was weighing tuna, and I'd have got it done, because I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I wouldn't have been able to do anything but drive and get to a scale. I can't believe 2 days. I can't believe you got any sleep. That's nuts. That's a great story.
Right. I know. And I almost just took it to the taxidermist because I was just over it.
So let me ask you this. Did you have hair when this started and the hair came out over the last 48 hours?
I don't know.
Because I'd have pulled every ounce of my hair out if I was you. And then you get the state record. And at that moment, what was like the thought in your head? Like, I mean, it's a 21-year record. I mean, I've been telling people for 2 years that this thing's going to get broke.
Right. Yeah. I wanted this badly. I number one, I wanted a big fish. And number two, I would have loved to be in the record books. And when he said that it was 16 pounds, 8 ounces, I almost fell over. I turned around and gave a big fist pump, and I went, yes. Yes. That's what I did.
Oh.
I love it. I'm like, what does it take to catch a state record? I mean, do you got to have something this big?
So
I'd like to lure.
So once you do that and you certify, and once they say, and you go through the paperwork, like that had to just be like, what time did I catch it? I don't know, like 3 days ago.
Yes. I actually did. I think I told them I caught it on Friday, and it was actually Saturday. I think on my paperwork it says Friday because I was my mind was just going. I'm like, I don't even know when I caught this thing now. Yeah, it was a mess.
And we don't care either as long as you caught it. That's fine. Go with whatever the story is. Just stick to it.
Right.
So the whole time Jesse's just sitting there being quiet. Were you yelling at him?
Yeah, there was a lot of frustrations going on, but I was texting him. I was at my son's basketball tournament. It was eating me up watching a basketball game. I probably didn't concentrate much, and I was just like, you got to get this thing somewhere. It's tearing me up, but at the same time, I was trying to respect my friendship with him and let him make some of his own calls, and it was tearing me up, though, as well. It's tearing me up that the scale was off. We maybe didn't make the right decision on the water, but we went with the data we had at the moment. But then when we got home, it really started tearing me up that night. And then into Sunday, I kept texting him.
I'm a Viking fan, but I'm not. I'm this close to a state record, and you're watching the Vikings. I can't get past that. I would have been all about the fish, and that's it. Oh, that's just crazy. It's nuts. Right. So, Bill, let's go back to you with Walleye Nation Creations. Are you going to have some sort of a little sticker on all of the Gannons now that says South Dakota State Record Catcher?
No, but we actually, when Jesse sent us the first picture, what I thought was crazy, and there was two things I thought was crazy. One is Aaron actually caught 2 reapers while he was fishing, which is awesome. And then two, you should see a picture that they have of the size of bait fish these fish were eating. It was unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you guys said the one picture I know you showed me, that had to be like a 10-inch Cisco.
Yeah. Yeah, we were down the week before, and there's been big fish coming in that area. It's not uncommon to get 10 fish over 25 inches a day, up to 30, pretty common, I guess, what we're seeing in our boat. But for whatever reason that day, I think it was about a 27 and a 29, when we're unhooking the baits and you're handling that fish, we noticed there's the tail out of each one sticking out. Natural fishermen, I think your instinct is to kind of see what they're eating. So we pulled them out of their gullet, and these things were anywhere from around that 12 to 10 inches and look like, they look like Cisco, or I don't know if people are referring to lake herring down there, but I'm 90% sure they're Cisco. But them fish are they're on the feed. They were really on the feed that day. I had a bunch of them cleaners in the live well. That photo, there's probably 3 or 4, probably 6-inch baits on the bottom of my live well. They're on the feed. These fish are eating huge protein amounts down there. They're getting these growth rates. It's definitely possible to have an 18, 17 in there, just what I'm seeing them gorging themselves on.
Wow.
So did Game Fish and Parks take anything out of that fish to date it, to do, did they do any of that stuff when you did the record? Are they doing any biology work on that fish before you mount it, or?
No. What one biologist told me is the only way they can age a big fish like that is there's something. He said my taxidermist could do it if he knew how to do it. There's something on the top, like by their brain.
The oris.
Yeah, that has to be cut out, and that's how you age it.
So we had a fish caught in Chamberlain this spring that I don't remember. Do you remember the length on that one, Jason?
I think it was 31. It was Brian Dahl's fish, I believe, right?
And the biologist looked at it that was there collecting saugers and goes, "Can I cut that? I think it's oris or oryx or something like that out of the fish." And what they can do is it's like they explained to me, it's like a ring of trees.
Yeah.
And in colder water, they shrink up and they can count them. And they figured that fish was 21 years old. And so it'd be interesting to know, when your taxidermist does it, it'd be interesting to know if he takes it out and let us know if he can tell you how old it is, or send it into the biologist, because it'd be interesting to know how old that fish is.
Right.
Yeah, and they could take it out of the opposite side of the fish, the side that's not gonna be finished at all. There we go, Brett. Thank you. I can't pronounce it. Otolith. But the taxidermist is gonna know. I thank you very much. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see the fish. I hope. I've got friends in Bismarck. Maybe I'll end up in Bismarck sometime. I hope to see it. You're obviously going to have your wife or Jesse or Bill or somebody share the pictures when it's all said and done, hanging on the wall, even though you're not on the socials.
Yep, for sure.
Good.
I will.
Good.
It just, the story, I was hearing from people rumors, I was getting pictures as soon as it happened, or as soon as you guys post, Bill, I think that was the first picture I got, is when you guys posted it. And then you just hear the stories, and I don't think you can make up a better story than yours. Like that just takes the cake of, the lady that caught the last state record was fishing off the shore with a crappie rig. That's how she caught. She was fishing offshore with a crappie rig, and she was going to clean the thing. Similar to you. That is
right.
That is the best part of this.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's a down-to-earth story. It's not complicated.
When we go tomorrow, we're gonna have about 4 scales with, and we're gonna have one in a heat box. So
I suppose you got to keep those batteries warm.
From running tournaments, I hear it all the time. Guys got their scale, then they weigh their fish, and they tell me, "Oh, their scale's light, or it weighed more in the boat, or them hand scales are great and they're getting better." but that's a lesson to anybody out there that watches this. Do not believe your hand scale, because I mean, I don't care how good they are. They're not always going to be accurate on you.
Well, look at Troy Dede's smallmouth bass. Didn't they go through, I think, 3 or 4, if not 5 of those hand scales just to decide whether they should take it in and get it weighed, and they decided to go in and get it weighed. So, yeah, those things are not calibrated. So, they get you close to deciding, should we quit and go in?
Yeah.
It makes sense. But what brand name? Did you have a Bubba, or what or Rapala, or what did you have?
Yeah, I just bought a Bubba about a week ago at Shields. My Rapala the week before when I had my kids out wasn't weighing accurate. I always carry 2 scales, but we went with a Bubba, and I had a friend on the water. I don't know, you guys know Hunter Havella. He offered to throw us his scale. I felt confident in ours, and lo and behold, his scale was weighing light that day as well. We found out after fishing he had caught some big fish that didn't weigh up that day as well. Had some scale issues going on in that stretch, as your map would say there.
Yeah, right on. I deleted those, by the way, because I don't want anybody to see them again. It was interesting because after people kept telling me about it, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And then it got to, holy cats, that's a big fish. Well, that record won't last long. I'm like, what? The last one held for 21 years. We all have agreed that there's an 18 to 20 out there, but that doesn't mean it's going to get caught in the next 6 months, right?
They have to catch it out there, and it's incredible. I know the guy last year that had the 16-1-6, and I know him very well. And from doing tournaments, I can tell you that he was 0.4 ounces off or 0.004 off of breaking, or 0.04 off break the state record. Sorry, that's half a penny. A penny weighs 0.88 or 0.088. So he was half off from breaking the state record. And I called him. One of the first people I called was him. And he's like, I knew it was going to happen. And, so it's so awesome to see it. It's so awesome that it came out of Lake Oahe finally. It's just incredible. The story makes it that much better. You guys just continued to fish, and, it's just an incredible story. But back to Bill, like when you design this bait, like go into that.
Really with almost all of our baits, we start with profile. And for us, we wanted that shad type profile. So the shaky shad is a shad bait. The Reaper is a bigger shad style bait. Yep. So that's really what we start with. And then we go from there. You're looking for the depth, what we were hoping with the Reaper realistically, when we came out with it, it was really more geared towards Lake Erie. The Bandit's big out there. You got some other competitors in that market as well. The Reapers gets used out there, but again, we're still kind of the young pup in the grand scheme of things. But I think Kurt, I don't know if you were talking about Cody Rader or
yep, Cody and Tyler run them a lot.
Yeah, so Cody and Tyler up in Oahe have been running them for a while, and they're kind of gaining a little bit of popularity, and then they've been used in the tournaments a little bit. We were up there for the NTC, the National Team Championship. I think it was a year or 2 ago. Yep. And we were running them through the tops of the trees and everything. So it's really gaining popularity up there, and I think it goes back to really the profile that gets those bites.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic.
What is stock like on them right now? Are they flying off the shelf after this week?
Oh, we're okay. It's just it's kind of a slow time of year, Everybody's going about to go hunting. Here pheasant season opens up. It's getting cold, so that the crankbait bite kind of slows down, or the sales of the crankbait slow down. Now we'll see. I've never talked to Jesse or Aaron, and Jesse had sent the message on Facebook. So when he sent me a message and said, hey, I think it was a state record, he's signing papers. I said, well, let me have Aaron's number. So I called Aaron. That's the first time I talked to him. Just said, hey, congratulations kind of thing. And told him we're going to send him a little care package. So I'm going to make sure there's a McGannon special you can put in the mount.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When I was down in Sioux Falls at Dakota Angler, we were talking. I was looking at different things, and I said, "So how well are these things selling? What's the scoop? What's the hot bait?" He said, "Honestly, this summer, I could have made the bait shop rich just selling Walleye Creations or Walleye Nation Creations Reapers, and then the Hyperglide." He said those two. He said I think I sold 1,500 pieces of the Reapers. Just crazy. Yeah, they've become extremely popular.
Yep, around the Lake Erie or the Lake Oahe area, it's really gaining ground for sure.
Love it. So here's the deal. I said we'd give them away. So the first person to comment how many feet behind the boat or how many feet of line were out when Aaron caught this South Dakota State Record Walleye, will get a couple of the Walleye Nation Creation Reapers. Just comment on how far behind the boat or how much line was out. And nope, Dusty, that's not quite there, but we'll make sure. There we go. Tracy Friesman, you are the winner. We'll make sure I'll DM you or something, and we'll make sure that you get the Walleye Nation Creation Reapers, and we'll see if you can catch a state record on one of these baits. So, Tracy, thank you very much.
Well, that was awesome, guys. We're getting up to that, hour mark. Anything out there you got to say to people? Anything you've heard, that you want to debunk or confirm? I think you did it with your story. I don't know how people are going to believe it, but it was the greatest fishing story I've ever heard.
Yep, it happened. It won't happen again, I'll tell you.
Careful now, you're going out fishing tomorrow. There's big fish out there. We can't have you on the show next Wednesday, though, if you catch another state record, because we got another big Wednesday planned for next Wednesday with that Ice Institute in Sioux Falls. So
someone's going to get a 17 here in the next few weeks. Maybe it'll be us tomorrow. Who knows?
Well, the thing is, you never know, but do you have any of these left?
Yeah, I actually, before me and him went down there, I went online and ordered a whole crap load of crankbaits, and I think I ordered 3 or 4 of those, so I'm good to go.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I got it back. He found some more in there.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic story. It's great to have you guys on. Thank you, everyone, for jumping on and doing this at the last minute. It happened so fast, and I'm glad that you guys were able to play along and be a part of the night. Thank you so much. Good fishing. Good luck. Bill, thanks for making a state record walleye catching bait. That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic.
We appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you soon. We'll pop you guys off. Good luck tomorrow. Please let us know if you catch one to keep in the fridge for a week or two to hold the record longer. I mean, how long are you going to make Jesse keep it in the fridge so he can hold the state record if he reels it in?
Right.
Well, he's the only guy I've ever known of that kept a fish in the fridge and had to get bigger than smaller. So, I mean, you are a charmed dude. So I can understand why Brett wants to get in the boat with you. I now want to get in the boat with you. Kurt, Bill, I think we all need to head up to the Mobridge Pollock area up there, or we'll meet in a Casca for a Casca wings, because they're my favorite.
I would meet you, but I'm a little further away than I'd like to be right now. So
That's
it's
right.
about a 14-hour drive for me. So, guys, thank you very much. Guys, make sure you check out Walleye Nation Creations on all the social medias, their website. Bill and Brian have done a heck of a job. I've watched them grow over the years. 2 great guys. Make sure you check out their company, because obviously they're catching fish. So thanks, guys, for having on. But before everybody jumps off, don't forget, if you watch our Facebooks, we're doing a JB Custom Design rod giveaway. So make sure you follow along on the instructions. Make sure you like and share that post. We're going to give that rod away next week. And beautiful ice rod. So thank you guys all for coming on. And we'll hopefully we have you guys on very soon with another one.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Great to have you. Thank you much, fellas.
Have a good night.
Have an absolutely wonderful night. Well, there we go. That was way too much fun.
That was awesome, buddy. We'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds great.
Oh, yeah, man.